I have been in some low places where I would wake up and I would go to sleep and I would not brush my teeth. I would not shower. I realized that my self-esteem and my self-confidence was being challenged by my partner. And so along with being, in a season where my partner was dimming my light, I started to also question who I was. And that's why I said in the last point, it's so important for you to know who you are and say those things over you. Yes, you can say affirmations every day. I am beautiful. I am brave. I am bold. I am strong. I am smart, etc., etc. But when you apply the word of God to those affirmations, to those declarations, to what God says to you, it will begin to permeate in your soul, like down deep, girl. It will start to go in deep inside of your heart and in your mind. Because remember, your mind, body, and soul, okay? And so you have to cater to all of those parts of who you are, because you're not just here. You're not just here living, okay? This life is so much more deeper than that. If you don't know if your self-esteem or your self-confidence is being challenged, if you're someone that's starting to feel like you're dressing like a slob, or if you feel like you're not doing much as far as getting your hair put together, doing your makeup if you're someone that does makeup, or just even brushing your teeth. I know this probably sounds so wild to some people. From my experience, I have been in some low places where I would wake up and I would go to sleep and I would not brush my teeth. I would not shower. And I think we have to have a more sensitive heart when addressing those things, because yes, the internet can go online and be like, I can't believe so-and-so didn't shower for 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or 5 days or a whole week or a whole month. But it happens. Sometimes we get into a low point and things that seem normal to others will just literally be out of sight, out of mind. And so I know how it feels to be in a place where you're not taking care of yourself. You're not brushing your teeth. You're not showering. You're not even changing your clothes. You're literally just up watching social media, watching Netflix, and going right to bed. And so for you, my sweet sis, if you are in this season where you feel like all of the things that I just said apply to you, just know you can get out of it. I believe that you can get out of it. Even if you're in this relationship and you're like, I want to stay though, I feel more comfortable knowing that he's there. Girl, look in that mirror and remind yourself who you are. I'm here to tell you, you are not this. This is not you. The weight that you gained is not you. The things that you've been saying is not you, girl. It's not you. And I'm just here to remind you that it's okay to have bad days, bad weeks, bad months. But girl, it's time to get up, and get it together, okay? Let's switch our minds, okay? Let's switch our minds. Let's start to fill our bodies with the right things. And let's get our confidence boosted. Let's get our self-esteem boosted back up. And if you want to see some videos that are really catered to self-esteem, I'll link a series down in my description bar. My godmother is a queen at all things self-esteem. And so check out her videos below. I'll link them in my description bar. And I pray that this helps you. Again, these videos are not to make you feel offensive. It's not to condemn you. It's not to make you feel judged. It's to help you get out of where you're at so you can move on to the next season and be successful in that season. I remember when I was in a relationship and all I did was compare myself to other people, and I literally stopped growing. I was so obsessed and fixated on being what he wanted me to be that I started comparing myself to every single woman that I saw, our friends, people that were close to us, even celebrities. I remember I didn't have my own identity anymore. I was just too fixated on becoming somebody else. Granted, it's okay to look at somebody as an inspiration and something to aspire to be like, but it's different when you want to be that person and you want to change the life that you're living to be that person in order to please your partner. And if you're in the season where you feel like you're not growing and that you're really stagnant, take some time to sit down and just clear out your space. Sometimes clutter, things being disorganized, not having order will cause you to feel like you're not good enough. It'll cause you to feel like you're not really that girl. It'll cause you to feel like you're not that person that you are always working towards to be. If you're someone that's like, I want that person's life, I just want you to know that the life that you have is beautiful. And where you are right now, somebody's praying to be in that position. And so as you clear out your space, as you get rid of the clutter and start organizing things, I also want to encourage you to start writing out some things that brings you joy. Kind of like a gratitude journal or a gratitude page. Just write 10 things, girl. Do not overcomplicate it. Write 10. If you don't have 10, write 5, write 2, write 3, write whatever. And if you feel like you're constantly comparing yourself to the next woman, instead of using that in a negative way, instead begin to compliment people. When you compliment people, it cheers them up. It gives them a good feeling. And not only that, most of the times people return the compliment, and then you'll start to be able to be in a place to receive compliments yourself. It's like reaping and sowing. You reap what you sow. So if you give compliments, you'll receive compliments. Now, if your partner is cheating on you and you know it, I feel like this point is kind of self-explanatory. This is a behavior and a sign that is so clear that this person does not respect you, nor do they want to be in a relationship with you in the way that you want to be in a relationship with them. Cheating is not okay. In my book, it is not allowed. As somebody that has been cheated on and stayed, I will be the one to tell you out of my experience, because again, I do know there are certain people that I even know personally that have been in relationships where their partner has cheated. They forgave them. The partner has switched and changed their ways. All was forgiven, and now they live a beautiful life. But in my experience, if that person cheats and it's constant, it's like that saying, shame on you the first time, shame on me the second time. And if it's the third time, girl, you a fool, okay? Sometimes giving people multiple chances isn't worth it. And sometimes they need to know how it is to be without you. Now, again, I want to make sure I'm very clear that these tips are all based on my experience. And I can only talk from my experience, but as Angel has lived this life and has been with a number of different people, I've never been in a successful relationship where my partner has cheated and we got married. That's just it. So I have this saying that goes, never return back to an ex. I know every situation is different, but for me, this situation that I went through, I wish I stuck to what I said. I remember there was a time I went back to one of my exes, and there was some years in between. And when I went back to him, it turned out to be one of the worst decisions of my life. And I get every person is different, but chances are they're an ex for a reason. And let's just say we enjoyed our season with that person. We understand the door is closed. Why pick up an old book? Now, again, every situation, every person is different. But I believe that the Lord will give you peace in knowing whether you should go back with a person or not. I know when I started dating this person again, it was the wrong decision. And throughout that relationship, I remember thinking to myself, why am I here again? Why am I doing this again? And I remember I did everything, I felt everything as I listed before this point. And it wasn't fair to me. You would think time would allow people to grow and mature, and it does. But it also can highlight the areas that the person has not grown. And so, girl, ask the Lord to give you revelation in this. But girl, if he's an ex, let him stay an ex, because there's a reason why he's your ex, especially if he mishandled you in the past. Another way I knew that I was with somebody that I shouldn't have been with was that I started to become extremely distracted. I started not living in my purpose, and I became more obsessed with what they were doing, how they were doing it, and if I was involved in what they were doing. I became fixated on knowing who they knew, being where they were, doing all the things that they were doing, and not having an identity of my own. And so if you're in a relationship where you're not going to school, if you're not going to work on time, if you're not showing up for the areas you need to show up, girl, you're distracted, and that ain't the one. The person that God has for you will always push you towards your purpose. They will always push you towards your relationship with God. If you're in a relationship where that person doesn't respect your relationship with God, or doesn't even acknowledge Jesus, or doesn't even encourage you to do the things that you have already built, as far as like going to work or showing up for your business or being consistent with whatever it is that's on your list, they are a distraction and they are pulling you away from your purpose. The person God has designed for you will never pull you from your purpose. And that is a sign, a clear sign that that person is not the one. Now, this sign that this person is the one may be a little uncomfortable for some women. But if sex is the main thing and not you and your relationship with that person, I hate to be the one to tell you, but girl, you could have sex with somebody every single day for the last 3 years. If sex is the only thing that is amazing about that relationship, that's a problem. If you guys haven't grown within that time, that's a problem. If you guys aren't working towards marriage, that's a problem. It's easier for a man to leave a 6-year relationship and find another person versus it is a woman who would leave a 6-year relationship and feel like she would have to start from the ground up with rebuilding herself. If your partner is only calling you or messaging you or texting you just to link up to have some cheeks, girl, that's not it, and he's not the one. And that's a sign that you need to leave that person. Not for God to remove them from your life, but for you to decide not to be dick dumb and get out. Now, if you stay to this part of the video, I want you to know this is where freedom starts. This is where happiness begins. But I want you to know that whatever it was in the past that you are a part of with this person, let's just thank God that there's no wasted time. God is the redeemer of time. That this time was instead used to be taught a lesson of what not to look forward into a spouse. In my next video, I know there's gonna be tons of comments of how do I leave? How do I just break up with them? And I will share with you in my next video some of the tips that I have when leaving a relationship and knowing that it's time to go. If you don't know how to break up with somebody in a mature way, I got you. Check out my next video, and I might even link it at the end of this video, depending on when you're watching this video. But girl, with all of those points, all of those things, all of those signs that it's time for you to go, I want you to know that forgiveness is the main thing in this video. You have to forgive that person. I know, girl, I know. It's hard. Like, he did you wrong. I get it. It's not worth keeping him or yourself in bondage. I remember when I learned about forgiveness and how there was a saying that forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. If you expect God to forgive you for your sins and all the wrongs that you have done, he's looking at your heart and saying, are you willing to forgive that person that has offended you, that has wronged you? Now, it's not your job to go into the conversation and start saying, you did this, you did that, blah, 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 blah. Just say this with me. I forgive you. Period. You don't have to go in and say how amazing you were and how mistreated you were and how they were not the best person or how they were trash in any way, shape, or form. All you have to say is, I forgive you. A quiet, calm tongue turns away wrath. It doesn't make sense to leave a relationship and leave bitter. We do not want to be bitter women, okay? Bitter women are not attractive. You can see it all up on their face. You can see it on how they move and all of that. My goal for you is to leave relationships and be whole. Yes, you might have some brokenness, but God will fully sustain you and he will create you to be whole. And so when you go into your next relationship, you're not looking for a better half, but you're looking for a man who is whole. Along with forgiving that person, I want you to also forgive yourself for staying so long, for putting up with all of this behaviors that were just unworthy of who you are. And even forgive yourself for letting yourself go. I know I've been in relationships where I've gained the happy weight. I have lost track of who I was, what I was doing. And sometimes it's easier to beat yourself up. But I want you to know that you can forgive yourself and just start over again. Every day is a new day. And so with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that I touched on some topics that start to spark your mind, spark your interest, spark some questions that you may have for your partner, whether it's to go in a better direction or whether it's to end this direction that you've been going with this person and start a new course. As always, you're beautiful, you're blessed. Don't run off. Hold on, girl. I know I'll be saying all of my lines that you're used to when you click off of my videos, but before you go, I want to share with you guys 2 products that I have. They are the same thing, just different sizes, and it's called the Husband Journal. In this series, I'll be sharing with you guys different ways to use this Husband Journal as you go and walk in the path that God has designed for you. I know it's not always easy being in a season of waiting, but with this Husband Journal, when I was in my season of waiting, it became my safe place. It became the place where I would go and pour out my heart for my husband. And then it later became a beautiful wedding gift when me and my husband got married. And since you stayed and watched this full video, I'll be sharing with you a coupon code for some money off for a limited time, just for you. All of the details will be listed right here and in the description bar. And so thank you so much for your support. I love you. Don't you ever let anyone dim your light. Comment, like, subscribe. It really helps me out in my channel. It really makes my day to know that you guys are engaging with me, because then I really feel like our community is like, you know, just clicking and stuff like that. And so, as always, I love you. Check out one of the 2 videos I linked at the end of this video. And don't forget to put your bell notifications on so you don't miss a video. Okay? Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace.